This is the Kraken, one of the most loved specials in Splatoon history. It was first shown off in Splatoon 1 during 2015, while later getting reworked in Splatoon 3 6 years later. This special has cemented itself for being extremely powerful and iconic in the Splatoon scene. In this video, we're going to discuss the entire history of this special, from the start all the way till today, so you can hear the entire story of Splatoon's most iconic special, the Kraken. To start off this story, we need to go back farther and farther and farther to 2015, where the Kraken was first seen. For a short period of time, 5 seconds, it turns the player into a stronger, more powerful squid that can swim in enemy ink and is immune to damage. However, the special still is immune to knockback, which means it still is counterable by getting knocked off or out of bounds, or also by dying by water. The Kraken's movement speed while swimming is the same. However, it can be increased by using gear abilities called Swim Speed and Comeback. It can also be slowed down by Ninja Squid. In this version of the game, when the Kraken jumps on the player, it's a one-hit kill. We'll talk more about the damage later when we get to Splatoon 3. Something that is also exclusive to Splatoon 1 is super jumping as a Kraken. This can be used to get out of bad situations or get in with the special. The Kraken can also go through grit, just like how the normal squids can. However, when talking about the squid's features, it also comes with different looks. The Kraken's appearance is fairly similar to the Inkling form. However, the squid is a lot larger. It has longer tentacles and a pointer head. The Kraken appearance also changes depending on the user's ink color. So if it's pink, the Kraken is pink. If it's blue, the Kraken is going to be blue, just for an example. It also has different eyes. The Kraken also seems to be slightly darker than the user's ink color. Now, after looking at the basics of the Splatoon 1 Kraken, what is the evolution of it in Splatoon 1? This is the version history. In 1.3.0, they made a nerf to where the Kraken could be knocked back. This shows that the Kraken was more broken back then due to it not being able to take knockback. This nerf was definitely fair. In 2.2.0, the Kraken got 4 nerfs. They increased the number of points needed to get the Kraken from 180 points for the special to 200. If you don't know, special points worked a little bit differently back then. So there were dedicated points for every special, so every weapon that had a Kraken on it basically got a nerf. They added 0.75 seconds to when the player could use their weapon again. This was made so people couldn't fire as fast as they could before when exiting the Kraken. They increased the hitbox of the Kraken from when the player is taking damage. And lastly, for this update, the player's knockback was increased from a high spot and a low spot. The last changes for the Kraken in Splatoon 1 ever were that the duration of the special would decrease from 6 to 5 seconds, and the one and only buff the Kraken got was that the special duration of effect increased from 40% to 60%. And that's all the balance changes for the Kraken. It was mostly nerfed due to it being so good. However, something that is balanced out is its cool facts, as they are pretty interesting. The beta name for the Kraken was called King Squid, found through some files in Mario Maker. If you use a mod for Splatoon 1 for the Kraken that is related to the rival Octolings, the rival Octolings will have their tentacles curled in like they do normally. The normal squid has gray eyes. However, the Kraken eyes change depending on the player's ink color. And that's the fun facts about the Kraken. Now let's look at some weapons that have the special in Splatoon 1. The weapons are the 96 Gal Deco, Custom Range Blaster, Octobrush, E-Liter 3K, including the scope variant, Slosher Deco, Crack-On Splat Roller, Custom Jet Squelcher, Fresh Squiffer, N-Zap 83, Heavy Splatling Deco, Permanent Ink Brush, Neo Splash-O-Matic, L3 Nozzle Nose D, and lastly the Aerospray PG. All these weapons have different special depletion though, so feel free to check them out on your own time. Link in the description. Overall, most of the weapons that had Kraken ended up being in a pretty good spot, especially the Custom Range Blaster. And that's all for the Kraken in Splatoon 1. Despite all the nerfs it got, it maintained to be one of Splatoon 1's best specials, right next to Bubbler. The Kraken was just so strong in so many ways that let many people get tons of value out of it, and it being pretty fun to use. But now, it's time to jump back to 2023, where the new era of the Kraken special would begin. The Kraken, now going by the Kraken Royale, is a returning and reworked special in this game. The Kraken's appearance is a little different than Splatoon 1. For one, the Inkling is way bigger. However, it, it still keeps the long tentacles and pointer head, and the body is still slightly darker than the player's ink color. Some differences are that now it has darker patterns on the tentacles and head. Something new that comes with Splatoon 3 though is that now the playable Octoling can become a Kraken. Although the Kraken Royale is still pretty similar to the Splatoon 1 Kraken, it did get reworked. Now, the jump that used to one-hit kill is now a two-shot. To make up for this though, they added a one-hit charge attack that cannot be stopped. The special also now has a startup, instead of it automatically starting like in Splatoon 1. One trait that did carry over though was the end lag. They made it longer to when you could start firing again. It's clear that they did not want to repeat what they did in Splatoon 1. While it was good, it was kinda broken. Some smaller stuff is how the Kraken got a badge and a table turf card. Now let's look at the current special's history. The special started out pretty insane on tower control, because it can easily farm points due to its large size, so they made the knockback much more strong while riding it. They also made it to when you deployed the Kraken in Clan Blitz, all your clams would drop, including the football. Then they made a fix to where the player's actions were supposed to turn off during the end of the special while doing a squid roll or surge. They were able to fix it. In 5.1.0, they made one buff. The movement speed while not charging was 11% faster. This made the normal swimming form more reliable. Then the last nerf at the time of recording this video was a change to where when you super jump to a player using Kraken, it now goes to where they started the special. This was most likely made to stop Clan Blitz cheese. And that's all the nerfs and buffs for now. Now let's look at some weapons with Kraken. There are only 6 of them. The Blah Blah Deco, 96 cal Deco again, both of the custom E-leaders, Kraken Roller, and the heavy Splatling Deco. Overall, most of these weapons are in pretty okay spots. And lastly, the cool facts about the Kraken. Kraken Royale is unaffected by the gear abilities I talked about earlier. It's the same for whatever you're running. The first Kraken weapons in Splatoon 3 were all reference kits from the first game. And lastly, the Octoling Kraken from the first game in the files is finally playable in Splatoon 3. And lastly, for real this time, my final thoughts. Overall, the new reworked Kraken is in a pretty good spot balance-wise. The weapons on it are mostly good, and many people still seem to be having fun with them. And that's the entire history of the Kraken, from game to game. It's one of my favorite specials in the entire history of Splatoon, and I can't wait to see what they do with it next.